evening. Here is top news and newsletter, starting with headlines. Syrian army targets terrorist stronghold in various areas. Saudi Arabia sent over 5,000 Takfiri terrorists to Yemen. Iran-US adjourned talks in Lausanne. An army unit killed an ambushed member of the terrorist group attempt and infiltrated El-Dimir in Damascus countryside. Units of the army fired at the artillery against gathering of ISIL terrorist organization in village of Al-Mafraq al-Siddiq to the west of Al-Hasaka city. Units of the army killed a number of terrorists in Al-Nusra front who attempt to attack Inkol town in the southern Daraa province. The army also targeted and destroyed a vehicle carried weapons and terrorists, killing all this on board on the road northwest of Atman town in the northern countryside of the province. Units of the army and armed forces destroyed the den of terrorists in a restaurant city in the central Homs. All the weapons and ammunition inside the dens were destroyed and the terrorists were killed. The source added that the number of terrorists were killed and injured in the vehicles carrying terrorist ammunition and the arm was destroyed in the north countryside of the province. The army carried out a concentrated operation against the Takfiri terrorist organization in Aleppo countryside, which resulted in destroying the terrorist vehicles and positions. Many terrorists were killed during the operation. A special military operation also targeted terrorists in Sheikh Lutfi village in the southern countryside of this province, killing a number of them and destroying their weapons and ammunition. In northern countryside of Aleppo, an army unit killed and injured a number of terrorists during operations against their gathering in Kafr al-Hamra in the town. Units of the army and armed forces killed scores of terrorists of al-Nusra and the so-called Fajr al-Islam in the special operation against their gathering in the village of Al-Hamidiyya and Al-Rawadi in the western countryside of southern Quneitra province. Units of the army and armed forces also killed and injured a number of terrorists and destroyed their ammo and ammunition in the northern part of Ternaj village in the northern countryside of this province. Saudi Arabia has dispatched thousands of Takfiri terrorists to Yemen to fight against the revolutionary forces in the Arab country. Saudi Arabia has sent all around 500,000 Takfiri mercenaries to fight against the Yemeni army and the revolution communists. The Yemeni commander meantime disclosed that the Saudi defense minister has asked Turkish officials to bear the ground for the transfer for more terrorists from Turkey airport to Riyadh. He noted that the heavy clash broken out between the terrorist group and the forces loyal to Yemen's revolutionary communities. Saudi Arabia started airstrikes against Yemen earlier Thursday, on the day after the US-backed Yemeni president fled the country. Riyadh claimed that it has bombed the position of Ansarullah fighter and launched attack against the Sana'a airport. But despite Riyadh's claims, Saudi warplanes have flattened the number of homes near Sana'a International Airport. At least 60 Yemeni civilians, including women and children, have been killed and tens of others wounded in the Saudi airstrikes in the last 4 days. 5 Persian Gulf states, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Qatar, and Kuwait, backed by the US, have declared war on Yemen in a joint statement issued. US President Barack Obama authorized the provision of logistic and intelligence support to the military operation, National Security Council spokesperson Bernard Meehan said. She added that while the US forces were not taking direct military action in Yemen, Washington was established a joint planned cell with Saudi Arabia to coordinate US military and intelligence support. The Saudi aggression has received growing international condemnation as it pushed the region and the world into a fast-growing war as its ISIL mercenaries are on the brink of complete annihilation in Iraq and Syria. Iran and US foreign ministers conclude their hour-long negotiations. Mohammad Jawad Zarif represents Iran in the talk, while the Secretary of State John Kerry led the American delegation in the 4th days of talks. The American Secretary of Energy Ernest Moniz and the US Secretary of State Wendy Sherman were attending the meeting. Zarif is to hold talks with his Chinese counterpart Wang Ying later today. Iran and the six world powers have been in talks to resolve outstanding issues surrounding Tehran's nuclear program to pave the way for striking the overarching deal on the country's nuclear program as a deadline slated for July 1 draw closer. Continuation in the Yemeni situation. The Yemeni army, backed by the Popular Committee, expelled Al-Qaeda militants for a pulse of a main highway in Shabab, southern the country, killing 10 terrorists and arrested a number of them. On the other hand, the Saudi-led aggression on Yemen continued as the airstrikes targeted various cities, destroying the country's main facilities, including Sana'a airport. The Yemeni air defense system encountered the hostile air raids. Well-informed sources mentioned that all the concerned parties were informed about the initiative and that Saudi Arabia has complicated the political procedures, citing the deployment of Arab troops in Sana'a as a precondition to reach a solution. The issue of sanctions against Iran has been resolved and remains a key obstacle at the nuclear talks between the Iran and the P5+1 group. And Iranian diplomatic sources are saying some members of the Iran Six are proposing absolutely unrealistic options which are unacceptable to us. As he said, "We are trying to align our positions closer to this aspect as sanctions are dragging out the process," the sources add. Meanwhile, the U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry said that reaching a deal with Iran is doubtful at this stage. The Iran nuclear talks include the P5+1 power China, France, Russia, the UK, and the US plus Germany. They are aiming at resolving the long-running dispute over Iran's nuclear program. Kerry said that his discussion with the situation in Ukraine, Yemen, and Syria with the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. "We had a long discussion with Lavrov," as he said. That's all for today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Inas Ahmed. Good night.